Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to my channel, I Hate Rock Music, code for I Love Rock Music. In this video, I'm going to talk about a band that I think has slipped between the cracks because they have such a vague sort of name called ROG and PIP. And it's definitely a record that I overlooked for a long time, but it actually came out on CD. A lot of the songs on this record were released as singles around Europe, and then in the last 20 years or so, I'm not sure when, they finally assembled everything they recorded, included the singles. So now we actually have an entire album by Rog and Pip, and the band's made up of Philip Pip Witcher, who's a member of the Sorrows, and then Roger Lomas on guitar. He was also in the Sorrows. So Roger or Philip Pip Witcher does the vocals and guitar, and then Roger Lomas does guitar, and then they brought in Wes Price on bass and Bruce Finley on drums. I'm not sure where those guys ended up. I did a little research and couldn't find anything, but they came out of the UK, of course. Then they moved to Italy, and they just seemed to have a lot more popularity in Italy and Germany and places like that. So a lot of their singles ended up coming out in other countries. And they went by other names before they decided on Rog and Pip. They were called Renegade at one point, and then the Zips at one point. And I think they might have been better off sticking with one of those names other than Rog and Pip. But then you get into the album itself, um, released. Most of the material was recorded in '71, and now we have this CD, and it's really awesome. It's a really interesting mix of glam, which, considering it was recorded in 1971, is pretty early in the glam movement, and a lot of it sounds like the Sweet, which is definitely a big compliment. And the thing that really wins you over is the fact that they're just, once again, like I say about a lot of records, they're firing on all pistons. The rhythm section's really great. The vocals are really great, and the guitar work is just killer. And they have an excellent guitar sound, and then the vocals are exceptional as well. And the whole thing is recorded really well, so that makes it really a pure joy. But when you go through the songs, like I mentioned, a lot of them are really glam, but a little heavier on the glam side. Starts out with "Why Don't You Do What I Want," which is pretty heavy. So right off the bat, you get this great mix of glam rock and heavy rock. Then they go into "My Revolution," another one that's straddles the fence between being glam and heavy. Then they go into "Rock with Me," which is basically a boogie song with some glam elements, and then "Evil Hearted Woman" after that, which is just a great example of British hard rock. A little less, a little less on the heavy side and a little less on the glam side. And then they get into two real stunners, a song called "Gold," which is super, super heavy and really a nice turnaround. I love the glam stuff, but when they mix the glam or get into the heavy stuff, they're very convincing. After that is "Doing All Right Tonight," which, as you could tell from the song title, is a real nice rocker, pretty fast, and "Little Rock and Roll" is the song after that. That's another fast rocker. So we get through a bunch of glam, we get a couple heavy rockers, then we get a couple of fast rockers, and then we get into another glam rock song, "Hot Rodder," and then a ballad, and it's a ballad that starts out as most ballads do. Then it turns into more of a kind of an easy rock song, and then it gets a little more dramatic with a lot of rock action, as they say. "It's a Lonely World" is the name of that, and then the finish is excellent. They do a song called Why Do You Treat Me Like That," which is very glam and reminds me a lot of "Jean Genie" by David Bowie, and it's right up there. Of course, it's not quite as great as "Jean Genie," but for that type of glam Bowie-ish sort of song, it's killer. And then thankfully, it ends with two of the most killer tracks on the album. They're both really heavy, "From a Window" and then "Warlord." And so that's basically about four or five tunes, six maybe, that are really have a lot of great elements of early heavy rock. and then that glam element. And some of these songs could actually be the Sweet. There's so much in that vein, and definitely the early side of glam. So I think it's really killer. I'm not sure if it's been released on vinyl yet. I would hope so at some point. It'd be really nice to have an actual vinyl album of this in my collection, because it's even though it was released a lot later, the fact that it was recorded back in '71 and thereabouts makes it a great addition to any vinyl collection. But so I'm sure, like me, a lot of people might have overlooked this one. The name kind of throws you off balance a little bit, but boy, once you get into it, it's a real stunner. And another reason why I would love to see an album come out is to see more information on the band. Great liner notes in the CD, so there's definitely a lot of information there, but not so much that I had a lot more to add to this video. So if you're a Sorrows fan, obviously it's going to be an interesting record. But for you out there like me who likes a lot of great glam rock and definitely heavy rock, this one's a real winner. I recommend it wholeheartedly. And as usual, I post the links below and check it out. So Rog and Pip, thanks for watching. See you later.